right, everybody, thank you for coming. Thank you so much. Yeah, good turnout. Thank you. So welcome everybody to the Oxnard Performing Arts Center. This is our second edition of Insight in Sound. My name is Jose Cano. I'm an honorary board member here at the PAC. Man, I mean, it brings me a lot of joy to see y'all here, part of this musical community that we're all part of, that we're trying to grow, that we're trying to make happen. So I think, like, you know, some people we heard the last one, I know there's a lot of new faces, but essentially what we try to do here is that we just try to share information. I know there's a musical community here, and you know, I spend a lot of time, I'm from Oxnard, I grew up here. I moved away, I lived in LA, and I got totally immersed in like the East LA music scene. And I was so blessed and enriched at all of the art, all of the creativity, all the music that I saw. And I moved back about 6 years ago, and I really just wanted to see more of that here. And so I've been sort of like committed to like helping and plugging in, helping and promoting art, music here in the city of Oxnard, and this is one of the ways that we're doing it. So thank you all for showing up, thank you all for doing the art that you do. So, as you all know, something that like what we do, we just kind of like, we bring somebody in, we're folks that kind of like been working this for a bit, we're trying to pass on the knowledge, so we bring guests in. So, the person sitting to my left, we've been friends for a bit. We actually met in Oxnard in the year 2000, 22 years ago, something like that. We met in college, but we've been friends for a long time, and I've always like admired and at times been super frustrated by this man's like creativity, attention to like nuances in the music. And you know, we used to play music together, and I was super frustrated because this guy just wanted to do all of these tricky things off time, but that's part of the magic that he brings. So, you know, everybody, Eduardo Arenas. Welcome to Oxnard, yo.
I love Oxnard, yo. This is, I thought when Anderson Pack did the album Oxnard, I was like, what connect you got? You know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, because I know Cano, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, that's Oxnard. I know some other people are Oxnard that have like campesino families, you know? So I was like, for me, that was always Oxnard. And through Cano, I've been able to come here and enjoy it more. And just on the way here, I was just like, the air got so much better once I got here. And I was like, fuck, Oxnard's some shit. Because air is a commodity, you know what I'm saying? That's still like out there that we can like breathe.
You was excited because we got to take PCH on the way here.
The fastest route from LA, PCH, I got so happy. I was like, yeah, all right. I'm down for like the drive. Because I used to camp out a lot on Point Magoo, Sycamore Canyon, a lot as a kid. In fact, I'm going like on Father's Day because it's like lucky. They're never available, so we just found some, and I have a baby now, so he's 2 years old, so I'm trying to readapt myself back into the world and trying to go camping for the first time.
We're all gonna show up, though.
I know. So yeah, Father's Day, you know what I'm saying? You know.
Man. So, I mean, I think a good way to start, you know, I think this conversation, and just basically the format, we get to know each other a little bit, people get to know our guests, and then we talk, you know, just a little bit of background, but we want to spend most of the time just kind of like with questions. So whatever questions you have, feel free to, you know, if anything comes up, as it comes up, and we'll have a good conversation, dialogue between everybody here. I think a good place to start, man, is like, you know, I think we all want to get to know you a little bit better. Where are you from? Where you grew up?
I'm from LA. I grew up in Boyle Heights, and I lived in Brazil about a year or year and a half. I lived in Panama for almost a year, and that's with my wife. So that's I lived, born and raised in LA. You know, it's in my blood, and I'm proud of that. We're kind of rare out there now, you know what I'm saying? People are coming from everywhere and taking up our housing, you know what I'm saying? Raising up the cost of living. I mean, it's expensive everywhere, but gentrification is real, So I've been part of that kind of like growth in the city. Went to college. One of those that like had to go to college. Straight up, right? Like your parents sometimes give you, like they give you no option, you know, and everything you do in school is like, they hit you. You know what I'm saying? So if you can go from C to A, you know what I'm saying? There's that tough love 80s, 1980s, you know?
The 80s, bro.
You know, the 80s, you know, yeah, no CPS around back then. But anyways, bottom line, I guess I grew up in LA and that's kind of like, you know, it's the whole story to that. Pico Rivera, you know, especially Pico Rivera.
Yep.
I'm one of those like in LA, like you start in somewhere ghetto, like Boyle Heights, and then if your family does good, you start migrating to the east. So it's like upward mobility, right? So then you start there, gain income, or like, you know, get on welfare, you finally find a place for yourself. Then we moved to the projects. So then we did the projects for a few years. That shit was nuts. Like all the stories. The biggest projects west of the Mississippi, so that was like so many gangs, so many drive-bys, so many killings, especially kids. Just a lot, it caught up. You know, my mom's car. I was supposed to go whale watching one day, and then my mom's car was shot in the morning. We're like, fuck. Shit. So it's just what it was, and then it was actually an incident that had us like basically escape from the projects, and we just never looked back. And then we just moved to Pico, and yeah. So then, you know, that was that's some dope ass like entry exam to college material. You know what I'm saying? Like my brother wrote it for me, like the majority. You know, so he's a better writer. And he was just like, I remember sobbing on the cold tile floor, you know, crawling my way from the bedroom to the hallway to meet my mom as the shooting continued outside. I was like, fool, I'm gonna get it anywhere with that shit, bro. That's poetry, bro. Put that shit, do more. You know? And so that's when we started, you know, figuring out how to use the system, you know what I'm saying? To like get it to do what we need to do. You know what I'm saying? Because like, you gotta get crafty, you gotta get in there. You know what I'm saying? There's a language to how shit gets done and how you get into situations you never find yourself into. So the more you learn about that, the more you realize how you could fit in, you know, and start climbing. I guess I'm being a little abstract, but like, for instance, I must just spit some nuggets right here. So we used to be a Latino band, Chicano Batman, right? Latino psych rock band, whatever it is. But there's a cap, you know, to how much you get paid as a Latino band. As you know too, you know, we're Latino bands out in the, you know, in the Anglo rock industry and hip hop. You know, hip hop is really like expensive. I mean, they make a lot of money in hip hop. So we just Latino festivals, certain things, we just would only get a certain cap for salary, you know, for shows. And then we started rebranding ourselves as a rock band. Same shit, you know what I'm saying? Same dudes, same music, but just that started opening up a market that we never had access to. So Alabama Shakes, now we're touring with them, Jack White, you know, we did Conan O'Brien. So just all these things that you would not have gotten under different guys.
A lot of stuff though changed though, like in your, I know we're kind of jumping ahead here, but that's perfect. But in your rebranding, like you guys dropped the ruffles, even some of the vibe of some of the songs started to change after like kind of the more recent albums. But it's also like kind of when your ascension just totally like kind of took off.
It helped. It helped, and it was still the same messaging. You know, it's not about selling out or anything like that. We just put it in a different category. You know, where there's more stream of shows and festivals and things like that. And but it's just it's a business. There's a business element to this.
That was something like intentional that you guys like at some point you thought about it, you planned it, and that was like a new direction. Did that come from you all? Did that come from management?
Nah, management don't know nothing about that. You know, it was us. We were like, now we're tired of this shit. You know? It's like we made like $300 for like 7 years, you know what I'm saying, every show. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's gonna do that shit now? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, that's smart, because there's money to be made at the bar. Everyone's being made money, except for the band. Yeah. So charge $300, even if you're starting off, do it. And then in no time you'll be making some money where you can like sacrifice all your weekends for like, 10 years. You know, and all your family's birthdays, you know, and like, spouse's wedding, all that shit you think you'll never ever miss. You know, like, oh yeah, Coachella. am I the only fool that's thinking I gotta stay home because it's my mom's birthday? I'm like,
Me too, man.
you know, they're like, yeah. I'm like, Mom, I'm sorry. And then, like, you know, 5 years of the same thing. You know, it's like, hey, just buy me some food. I called her the other day, I was like, Mom, I'm really sorry, I wasn't home. I got on the 6th, but, you know, it's okay, just buy me food. I was like, hey, that's easy.
I think afterwards though, like your people, your friends, your family, they kind of know the deal.
They know.
You gotta pay your bills. This is your work, you know. And
you know, you and I were into boxing, right?
yeah.
So, you know, to be raised like a boxer, the more you get into the science of it, or a basketball player, anybody else, they're just training. They're not eating tamales. They're not doing all that stuff during the holidays. They're just like, they're training and they're training and they're training for that, you know. And I don't know, I just find that discipline like amazing.
How many times have like somebody invited me to a boxing match and we're like, I got a gig. Can't make it. All the gigs on Saturday nights.
Yeah, but back to the point is, you know, until you say, I'm not gonna do this service for this price, this is my new price, you'll still get paid the same. Because no one's gonna defend you more than yourself. So, in anything. So that's one of the things that we learned. That's like, all right, so we're gonna do $700 only now, you know? And surprisingly, they start coming. Yeah. I'm gonna do 1,000. They start coming.
You keep answering the phone. If you keep answering, they keep calling. You know, at some point you gotta like turn away some gigs. But tell us a little bit about like where you even started, like when you started playing music, and then like how old were you? Where did you start? What made you even think that you wanted to play music?
My uncles were in a band. They played norteñas and cumbias and things like that. So and like baladas and stuff like that. So I was a little kid, and you know, anything an adult does, it's like cool, you know. So, you know, they're drinking beer, smoking cigarettes, you know, trying it. It's nasty. That's gross. Something hurt, you know. Anyways, I was a dude that like helped with all the cables and brought the beer, you know, like fill up the cups. And I was amazing because I had a responsibility. And then the music was just like cool. You get to stay out. It's like 10 p.m. and it's like cold outside, but you're like your mom hasn't said anything. Everyone's just like, you know. And I get to help out with the cleanup crew. That was the most adult thing I've ever done. And so I just like liked it, and I just like feeled it out. Like I have rhythm. And in 7th grade I started playing guitar, or 8th grade, and then from there I just learned some scales, the blues chord progression, and then I just like became like obsessed with guitar soloing. So I did that for 4 years in high school. I just shredded all day. 4 hours a day I was just solo. Just fast. Me, only me, look at me. Boom! That's like my lens of music. Getting into college, I wanted to study studio guitar. So I went to an interview at the USC School of Music, fucking jazz department, you know, super highbrow. And I'm over here like a metalhead. And I had rehearsed an Ozzy Osbourne song in case they wanted me to play some. So then they're like, do you know any could you name 5 jazz artists? I was like, no. It's a jazz studies program. And they're like, could you read music? I was like, nah. And then they're like, well, everybody that was here to do this, you came in as civil engineering? I was like, yeah. And you did science and math and all that? And he goes, yep. Well, all of ours have been doing music for like the last 5 years before they got to college. So you're gonna have some catching up to do. She was not nice about it, you know.
You'll never be successful in music.
Yeah, so I was just like, all right, thank you very much. You know, I was like, so uninspiring. It's like, I don't want to play guitar at an institution, you know? And so I said, this ain't for me. And so I just did urban planning. So that's what I studied. So urban planning to me was music, you know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't civil engineering, because that shit was hard. I dropped out of that. So urban planning was like sociology meets civil engineering, you know? And it was a study of cities, a study of people. And so what I did is, again, this is another example, going in the cracks. So for me, in my urban planning, what I feel like I found a mentor who believed in my funky ass shit that I was turning in. And so I had a studio, and then we had to do all kinds of projects. And for one, like we had to take pictures of a lot of things, you know, and there's just all kinds of college students, all kinds of ideas. And I went to a cafeterias all over LA, and I took pictures of meat, just meat. And I just printed that out and put it in some kind of fold, and he loved it. And people were just like, "What is that?" I was like, "This is urban planning, yo. You know where these carnicerias are at?" Like, then I did a map of where they're at, and like, kind of, you got to make some kind of connection, you know, to get an A and shit. You know, so you can't just take pictures. But it was like, I used being from Boyle Heights and the street knowledge that I know, and walkable communities, and these new designs and new concepts of sustainability. The shit I've already seen in Boyle Heights and East LA that people already thrive on. I was like, yo, these are some amazing examples over here where I'm from. So I just made all that shit academic and turned it in. And I was the only one that had insight. So I was like, I can do this. So I just kept doing more stuff like that, and then just like, you know, popping out because it's unique.
At some point you stopped doing urban planning. You moved out of the country for a while. You always played music, at least since I know you. But there must have been a point to where like the urban planning life was a thing of the past, and where you knew that you needed to do music. Like where was that? Where and when did that happen?
All right, this is dope. How many musicians are in the house? All right, so not even saying it, but y'all have to get each other's emails. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because she's lived here and hasn't seen this many musicians in one spot, you know. First of all, I never got the chance to say, but I'm pretty damn honored to be here, you know, to be part of this. You know? I always thought I was going to be a math teacher, you know what I'm saying, when I grew up. You know what I'm saying? This is the closest. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get to that shit. But also, too, like, we got resources. You know, we got knowledge, things to do, not to do. You know, branding your band, like, play this gig, don't play that gig. You know, drop your singles, music videos. You know, where's technology going? We're, like, writing that shit right now. You know, and it's changing all the time. You know, it's so annoying. You know? Pretty soon we're all gonna be on TikTok, you know, and like Instagram's gonna be like Facebook and shit, you know. And it's just like, and then you know you don't agree with all the reels you gotta do, but like you're not creating a revenue stream. So go ahead, keep posting your pictures. No one's seeing it. You're like, I gotta do reels. I was like, no, you don't. Hell no, I don't do that shit. You know, but it's just like you gotta. It's tricky, you know. Like you work with a lot of multimedia, a lot of platforms to outreach. But it's like just algorithms.
Yeah.
It's like curveballs and shit. Right? Before you used to gig, just go gig. You know what I'm saying? Throw a backyard party gig, invite your friends. Memorable weekend, right? You had a badass house party. And then it gets around and you grow like that. I think now it's just like posts, likes. That shit got 3,000 likes. Fuck. That was 5,000 likes. It's like, well, what about the grit? And what about the work ethic on the grit? Like, what about the communication between bandmates? Try that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that is, you know, an art of its own. You know, and I feel like, I don't know, we have a conversation that bands are a dying art. You know? Yeah, because of a lot of access to, I feel like right now, people are all about what I can do. You know what I'm saying? You put a camera on yourself, what I can do. I can do all kinds of things. I can play the keyboard, I can play the drums, I can actually do all this by myself. And it's true, a lot of us can. And I was on that tip like 2002, like Prince, you know what I'm saying? Like right here. Prince can do everything himself. I'm like, I want to be like Prince and Sugar Otis, you know, like, you know, all those people that did all kinds of things by themselves. But then when I was creating my album, Nariz, which is right there, I'll show you. Oh, yeah. I realized that like you can't go through life not asking for help. Yeah, it's pretty basic. Because I was trying to 6 years to finish the album, I can't. I'm like at 80%. You go, and then it's just like it's not going anywhere. And then you just ask for help. Yeah. And then you're like, damn, life lessons. Here we go. You know, so you can't really get anywhere if you don't ask for help.
Yeah, I'm still at the 80% with some of my individual projects. I'll ask for help soon. Eduardo,
ask me.
Huh?
Ask me.
I'm busy. So Ben, you're in this band. You're in Chicano Batman. I remember back in the day, you guys started playing, and you guys were three-piece back then, and you guys were weird. Like your sound was different, and I remember but there was something about your band, there was something about the music that y'all were playing, the look, like everything was just different. It was totally unexpected. It came out of like nowhere. And I remember going to some of your shows and people would just stand there and like watch. And I think, you know, myself included, and like, man, I don't know if I dance to this, I don't know if I groove to it, I can't stop watching. You know, it's super fascinating. So I imagine that maybe, I mean, that's I've been in that situation a few times. We opened up for Juanes in Miami one time. Nobody went to see us, everybody went to go see Juanes. So then people were just standing there and like super weirded out, but when the song was done, everybody would clap because they were intrigued. So I imagine that was probably a lot of like your, first starting out, because I was in the crowd a lot of the time.
Yep.
Well, I mean, did you all feel that? Like, how did you stay so committed to the project at first? I mean, did you just know? Well, I mean,
it just felt like we were inventing it, you know. We were drawing from different influences that we liked. A lot of Brazilian stuff, a lot of crazy, like Beatles, when Beatles do crazy things, like singers a lot into Beatles. And we would just jam it out and we record it and we were just throwing odd time signatures like Yes or like King Crimson or something like that, and just, we were like metalheads, Sanceros, Bretton Wood, like reggae is huge, and we were all those things, Brazilian like music, all those things, cumbia, like our singer being more like Colombian cumbia and me more like Mexican cumbia, so it's two different worlds. So all these things are super deep, or like singles, like 50s singles, 60s Mexican, like Época de Oro. All that stuff was deep in the pocket. So we were just getting references, and just creating our own music with that. And yeah, it was just like, man, we didn't care. We just having a good time, honestly. And that's just like, social media MySpace was kind of doing its thing, but we weren't about like trying to get more. It was just, we just had gigs and spaces anywhere to play, and we would just play. And we would just try to, the thing about getting weird is, the trick is you gotta come back, So remember that shit, as musicians, get weird, but have a cue, to come back. Otherwise, it just sucks, you know what I'm saying? And that's what's cool, like, man, that's what makes this all worth it. You asked something before and I completely abandoned your question, but when I was in urban planning, I got out, right? At one moment, I was looking at the walls dry I'll tell you a story. I was checked out already. I was like, man, I'm bored. I'm 28. Like, I've been working here 5 years, shirt and tie every day, 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Like,
where we were?
At City of Huntington Park, like at the city community development department. Shit, I was like managing federal grants, like $1 million grants, rehabilitation programs, lead-based paint removal, solar panel programs, homeless prevention. It was during 2008, during the housing bubble, the crash. So there's a lot of resources being built. We had to apply to a lot of grants to get more money for our city. Blah, 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 blah. And then, but the shit follows politics. So whoever's in office is what you're doing as a priority for the city. So shit got old, and it's the same thing. And I'm like, man, I'm wasting my 20s here. I was already playing with Chicano Batman. And so I was like, get home at 6:30, take a 45-minute nap, get up, go to practice. Come home at 2 a.m., get up the next day at 6, 20s. If you're 20, just go, just abuse it, you know what I'm saying? Like, just
gotta put in the work.
Because when you're 30, no, it's just diet and sneakers, like bomb sneakers, you know what I'm saying, for the back support. That's how you're balance shit, like vegan shit, New Balance. That's in 30s. 20s, fuck it, eat out burritos. You know what I'm saying? Like, just put them in the microwave.
40s,
forget.
Switch careers.
So, there comes a moment in your vocation and your occupation. If you want to do what you love, it takes a leap of faith. You know, it's not easy and it hurts because you're not only fighting yourself, you're fighting your own family, and you're fighting society. It's like we're all artists, but somehow it's all been sucked out of us through our whole life. You know, to think like you want to do that shit, like get a real job. Come on, what's that? You know, but it's an expression and it's in us, and we can't get it out any other way. So what are we gonna do? Drugs? I'd rather not. You know what I'm saying? Let's do music. You know, let's not like. I need an avenue. I need an avenue to do this, and you fight it your whole life because you're like, oh, that's stupid. Who am I gonna tell it to? Like, yeah, I wanna be a rock star. I wanna tour. You know, and it's just like, you know, like, man, you just gotta believe yourself. And that's it. And it's just like I had to quit. I quit my job and said I'm gonna only do music. You know, and I suffered. I was a substitute teacher for a year. That sucked so bad. In charter schools, where like the admin is so ruined and like schools are so disorganized. There's so many issues and like lockdowns and things like that. And you're just like, man, subs are like a mean ass curita. Like we're not doing anything. Here. Like, they see me, they're like, sub, oh, you know what we used to do, you know what I'm saying? Back in my day, I used to bring the little carrito with the TV. Oh, you know, like watching the movie. Man, she's not coming today. Oh, Home Alone.
Yeah. Hey, Eduardo, but I remember, man, there was one time when I asked you if you could do music full time.
I remember this question, it was so naive.
Would you do it? And you said no. Not unless I'm making the same amount of money as I'm making right now in my stable urban planning job.
Which was $72,000, and that was bullshit. I was never gonna do that.
But when you answered me,
to make $72,000 a year in music, do some math right there. Okay, so back to the weekend. You know how many weekends are you gone? And that means how many gigs per weekend are you playing? And how much do you have to get paid, right? Per weekend to do this. Like, forget your expenses. Forget your expenses. Don't even talk about expenses yet. Okay? And then how many members of the band are there? 4 members. 4. Okay. So now we got to do that times 4. Okay? Is management taking a cut? Probably, because you know you're making more money.
It's often like some of the economics for us is like, I think our profit margin, and we do like. Our bands operate very differently. Chicano Batman's got a whole team of people that handle all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Allows them to be super creative, or allows them all the time in the world to be creative. My band, we don't have that team because we can't afford it. So we have to do all kinds of stuff. We have to book our own travel. We have to drive ourselves.
You taught me everything. Stuff. Cano taught me everything.
Dude.
Swear to God.
Oh, the travel?
No, taxes.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Airfare. Like,
yeah.
Oh, get a card, you know, put it on there, get points, and what?
Yeah.
Taxes, accounting, Guido taught me everything I needed to know because I did all the accounting for like 7 years, you know, until things got a little out of hand and like you're playing in different cities and things like that, taxes, and you're just like, I don't lose money now. I don't know what I'm doing.
Because Las Cafeteras, like we started touring like before, like kind of like a couple years before you all. Like
That's right. You guys got the national circuit.
And then so we had to figure all this stuff out so we would have passed on a bunch of that knowledge. But kind of going back to that stuff, I think our profit margin, because we do more of the work, we're more hands-on, I think our profit margin is about 50%. Meaning half of our money goes to expenses. So we don't have calculators, but like if we do the math, if you have 5 people in the group, if everybody's trying to make 50K, and then you got to make 50K, that's 5 people, that's 250. Oh, that's at 6 people, right? That's 300K. That means you got to make $600,000 a year for everybody to make 50K a year.
Yo,
well, what does that take? Like
40% tax. Take that shit out on the top of that.
Yeah.
40%, yo. That's what we got to say.
Yeah.
40% tax on that.
So the amount of money that a band has to generate,
you have to live on the road, you know. So it's not until you go out there and do it, you're like, fuck, that's it. We're getting this much for all that work.
Yeah.
We're like, wow, okay,
yeah.
Let's think.
So I see why you didn't want to. You didn't want to, like you were saying, no, I gotta have this job. But how did you? I mean, I don't remember but what did that feel like, man? In that moment, you answered that question, but
yeah, when I said that, I had copied what somebody else said, and they were a teacher, you know, and they had summers off, and I was like, that sounds right. Yeah, that sounds right. Like, why would I want to leave this job to make less money somewhere else? But I realized at that moment, I was like pruned to do this program, robot, like high school honors, college, good job, desk, house, you know. Not a new car. I would never get a new car. I always had an 87 Acura Integra. That was my bucket. And so, you make most fun of me. A new car for you, money. It's like,
Yeah.
So it was like, so I was just like, I'm out. Oh, my story was, so for my birthday, they bought me a cake. And then they did the whole office like, happy birthday to you. And it's just like, there's no candles, so I was like, hey. You know, and it's just like all quiet in a circle. And I'm like, fuck, I hate this shit, man. Why can't we be like real? Like, I know you all are funny, like on your own, you know, like we all have something to do with this office atmosphere. You got us like this, and I'm 28, and I'm here for 5 years. And so my manager was like, not my manager, the other manager was friends of mine. He said, yo, just cut it however you want. So I just cut a big old X in the middle of the cake, you know? And I told my brother, he's like, fool, don't ever tell my dad that shit. He gets so pissed at you, you know? And I was like, what? It's the same cake. He's just like, fool, you know what you're doing. And I was like, yeah, but I'm gonna quit, dude. Like, I don't care anymore. You know, my boss called me in one day, he's like, yo, what are you doing? He was like, I don't know what you've been working on. I was like, I'm doing this and this and that. The other time, I'm pretending to work. Because the stuff that you have me doing right now, I could probably do it in 3 hours or spread it out for 2 weeks. You know? So I don't know what to do. So I'm just kind of staring at the walls. And then he's like, oh, okay, well, you know, I can show you, I can give you more work. And I was like, yeah, right. We only work as fast as they work. My first day in the office, first week, dude, someone gave me busy work. And I was like, all right, like look at all the numbers, like the APN numbers or something of all the properties, and do a property flyer for all these. There's like 100 properties. So I did everything in 2 days, and my eyes were all red. And they're like, oh no, don't do. No, I meant to just like do a little bit a day and just like spread it out. And I'm like, all right, shit. I ain't doing nothing then.
I would call this man any time of the day, any time of the work week, and this dude would always answer. Always. For years.
Morning rituals.
Yeah.
Like an hour late. It's 9:45. I gotta work. Then it's just 7. You know. So, anyways, I was just like, it ain't worth it. This ain't my dream. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to play music and give that a shot. I saved $15,000, so I was like, you know what I'm saying? I kind of got an overlap, but then that ran out. And then I went to the bank, and I was gonna take out my retirement that I put on. I went to the bank. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take this out. Like, maybe you should consult with a financial consultant. I was like, for what? I already know what to do. I just need you to notarize this, and I'm good. You know. And then they're gonna charge you 40%. Yeah, it's fine. I already calculated this. It's like, but you know, if you leave it there, you get 6% interest for the rest of your life. It's like, who's gonna match that? I was like, whatever. I need you to sign this. So they're like, why don't you talk to this guy? I was like, all right, I'll talk to him. And he talked to me. He's just like, you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna take out that money, and next year around the same time, you're gonna run out of that money. You know, and you're gonna be in the exact same position. I've seen it a million times. It's like, so he's like, so what do you say? Yes, I do. He's like, get a job. You know. And I was like, all right, there goes my pride, because I want to be a musician, you know what I'm saying? But now I got to get a job, you know, anyway, because I got to get rent, you know. So there's that balance, like, that's the thing, like, doing music.
So after that, what did you do? You're like, you're at the bank, and you're like, it's like, man, get a job. What did you do?
I told him, man, I hate you right now. Thank you so much. I was like, thank you so much. I shook his hand, he laughed at me, and I was just like, damn. I just got slapped with a dose of reality, you know? My dad always said, money doesn't solve your financial issues. So this man just confirmed that right there. So I was like, ooh. So how about you, kid? And I was like, all right, let's go back to the drawing board. We'll go to Craigslist for a job. You know? I got a college degree already, but I've been out too much of the game.
Something part-time, or like, did you just
subbing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got into subbing. You know, and then that was just temporary solutions. It was just like, but you know, when I go on tour, I just like stop working and go for 2 weeks and then come back another month until you got another tour. You know, you can select your tour like when you're subbing. So we were all subs at that point. All in the band were subs. Between like.
Did you teach math?
I had some shit. I did. I had an algebra course one time, and I was like, "You want to do the equation, like the quadratic equation? Oh shit, I know this, you know." So I used just like looking for X. That was like a high.
Did you ever have a moment where like this is really happening? Like I can sort of do this.
Yeah, as soon as people have asked me how do I get a booker, right? And the real answer to cut all the BS is like you don't look for them, they look for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, have you sold out your hometown? Like all your venues? 350 cap, 400? Those are some deep numbers, yo. That's a lot of promotion, right? That's a lot of buzz. 150. 150 rooms packed are amazing nights.
When was the time that you said, all right, it's time to jump it up a little bit to 1,000K, or what was it, the moment that you decided that this was what my profession is, and everybody started to say, oh, fuck it, let's do it?
The moment you stop doubting yourself.
Hey.
Thank you, thank you.
You know, when we had announced, one of those big moments was when we did the Fondas. You know, so our managers were like, all right, you guys gotta do the Fondas. We're like, yeah, right. Like, for real? We're ready? It's like, well, what if we don't sell that? We should get a headliner. We should get a code. Like, we should get something like Kamasi Washington. Or we should get like Thundercat. We should, you know. And then I wasn't like that. My band was like that. And I was just like, this is a fucking show, man. Like, believe in it. You know? And so we sold out 1 and 2 and 3 back to back to back. And we were just like, damn. It was just like, all right.
So was that the actual moment that was the epiphany, right?
Yeah, that was, we did another show called Echo Park Rising, and there was like a free event. There was maybe like 7,000 people outside. At that point, we were just like,
God damn, that's a lot.
Like, this is insane, you know? And they kept getting younger. Our families kept getting younger. Because I'm gonna be 40. You know what I'm saying? I don't see no 40-year-olds. I really like that. But the thing is, like, yeah, I believe in our band. I have since day one. You know, I haven't changed, anything since. Are we weird? Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
You know? Are we less weird now? Yeah, probably. We're more songy. A little bit. You know?
Less moments.
Like, you gotta get one song to try to circulate in in the radio.
Yeah.
You know, sustainability. And so you get one, you sacrifice one. No, I'm just kidding. I'm the like, I hate the pop element, you know what I'm saying? But we have some songwriters in our band that are amazing at that, you know? So you can't be like an asshole. You know what I'm saying? That's a band dynamic. You know what I'm saying? Take notes on that. Don't be asshole to your bandmates because they're better than you than something you ain't, because that's your strength. It takes you years to figure that out, you know? But, just swallow your pride, and then remember, like, groups are amazing. They're amazing. There's 4 or 5 or whatever directions that don't go in the same way. But somehow you're containing it through frequency and rhythm and melody and messaging and an aesthetic, something you believe in together. That's rare. That's like one of those trees, like 2 palm trees that connect, you know what I'm saying? There's like 4, let's say, it's like, and they don't last a long time. One will die off, you know what I'm saying?
It's a money tree.
It's a money tree. Yeah. So it's hard for bands to stay together. There's a lot of drama that happens, in your own life, economically, or someone gets a family, they want to commit to something else. And all that is fair game, it's life. It's all good. Like, I used to judge people that, like, had a baby and they just called it. I was like, oh, but you're so dope. Like, man, that's not metal, man. You gotta be metal, bro. Think to the music, not your family. And then I had a baby. And I'm just like, shit, I ain't going on the road. No. We, as Chicano Batman, manage that. Like, we don't really go on the road more than 2-3 weeks at a time. Because we're close to our families. And we're raising kids now. And that's like legit. Like, I didn't have a dad growing up. I want that shit to my kid. You know, like I connect. I'm present with my baby. You know, I'm just
I'm
like.
gonna say that,
And that's like, I think about that. I'm like, we do music, bro, and like, I just gotta bring it home positive to be present with my kid now. And it's just like, and that is gonna give me the energy and the inspiration to stay up from 10:30 to 2 a.m. now, trying to write my music and record it in my basement. You know, get up at 6 or 7, you know, to go with his schedule, and then do the day's work and all the cooking and all the stuff, and then everyone's asleep, go back to the basement, you know, and like 4 hours. I was just talking to my friends, like, you're not gonna get done what you want in life, you know, with a full set of sleep, you know, or, you know, with money. You know, it's a drive, man, it's a drive. Like, you gotta tap into that drive, and I'm being for real, like, it's in there somewhere, you know? Like, sharpen it up, believe in it, because nobody's gonna do it for you. And you're gonna go your whole life, like, knowing it was there, and just not tap in. But we're all meant to do something, and luckily for me, I found this at a very early age. Like I'm out touring and playing, and man, I have a good time. Like when I play, I don't know, how many of you guys seen Chicano Batman? Damn! That's amazing. Ooh, that's so dope. I'm honored, man. I get lost. Like I'm euphoria, you know. And then I just feel where things are at, and I look at people, and I'm just like, wow, there's so many things to connect to right now. You know, music for me is not playing songs. That's boring. You know, like we all know the songs. You know what I'm saying? We played for 10 years. What's different? You know, the rooms are different, energy is different. Yeah. You know, the lighting's different, the vibration's different, like the wind. There's so many elements, and you know, there's different dance moves everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Just go grab them. And so for me, it's a spiritual thing, and I enjoy it. And I'm like, do I enjoy it enough to like be on the road for 6 months out of the year and be away from all these different things? They're like, oh, secretly, yeah. So I can justify that in means of like responsibilities and duties and society and what you want. But it's a balancing act, the whole thing. You know, so, you know, for me, I just like, my kid knows when I'm going on tour. I tell him, since he's been a year and a half, 2 years, just like, Papa va a ir a un concierto. He came to Coachella. We thought that was never possible, you know? But I have a friend that lives up there, he never stay, and we just, this is a small drive. And then he came, and he was the greatest date to my wife. He was just everywhere. And he was side stage. I saw him side stage, and I was like, all right, we're here already. You know those things you imagine one day I'm at a festival, like maybe watch me play. I look over, and he's there, and I'm like, damn, all right. So let's get organized, you know what I'm saying? Let's be smart about our business decisions, you know, let's get along, let's use all the positive that we built together as a band, because check it, I have a kid and I like that moment. You know, how can we make this process healthier? You know, because healthier is gonna sustain everything for a lot longer, you know, than egos are like, I took a 3-minute solo, man. I should have supposed to be 30 seconds.
That's so a lot of it's like sustaining, like keeping it going, like that's, you know, and a lot of times, you know, bands being on tour is not a healthy environment. It's not natural. It's not natural to not sleep, you know? It's not natural like to see the same people for 3 weeks, you know? And it's tough. I think, who is it? Somebody asked, I forget who asked, but anyways, whatever. I think a lot of us who just know this, like, the hardest thing about being in band is actually keeping the band together. Because there's so many things. I think people are ready at different times, and people are down, you know, people aren't always down the same way. Sometimes you get somebody that's gung-ho, man, I'm down, let's just go. And then there's the person who's like, who has a spouse or who has a kid, and it's like, hold on, I can't do that. And so there's a lot of conflict, let alone like creative differences, let alone like ability, like money's often a big thing. And you know, I got into this, like I was already into like my late 20s. You know, we started touring, I think I was in my early 30s. And so there's also like the age thing, you know, like where at a certain point, like you don't want to be sleeping on the floor anymore, you know? At a certain point, you know, you want to be comfortable. I know there was one time in El Paso, there was, I think we went to South by Southwest, there was 9 of us who stayed in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
And we didn't stay in the bedroom. We were in the living room. Like straight up the way these boards are, that's how like we were like in the living room, you know? And after a certain point, like if you're in your early 20s, dude, go have all that adventure, go see the world, go play these stages. And at a certain point, it's like, dude, I've been doing this for 5, 6, 7 years. I don't know if I want to do this anymore like this. And that's kind of like where some people kind of find themselves at like a crossroads. Like, dude, do I keep doing this? How do we get bigger? How do we make more money? Because that's really like kind of what I need to stay in this. And that's kind of like, yeah, that's why a lot of bands kind of, you know, it's hard to keep going. Like,
sustainability.
Yeah, some people say like, you know, if you're in this for the money, I think, you know, if you're in this for the money, that's totally the wrong reason. Because for most musicians, there's just very little to no money.
And your time is your labor. That's your money right there. So you don't do this because you're gonna get a return. I mean, a lot of people do actually, but I don't know, sustainability.
Yeah.
Now I want to make sure that we get questions.
Let's do that. Yeah. I was about to say that.
All right.
Yeah, we've been talking for a long time, and I think a great part is like just hearing what y'all have to, like any questions y'all have. So by all means.
Okay, the accumulation of how long into, meaning you said 7 years, right? For about, you said, doing shows.
10 years.
10 years.
Pretty official.
Whoa, that's a long fucking time.
Overnight success takes 10 years.
So, I mean, I've been doing this for a long time too myself, but that's different. But my question is this: your prices. You started from dirt to all the way to 1K, but what was the real? Because I said this. What was the real transition point where you actually told yourself, "Hey, guess what, guys?" Meaning to all your vendors, all your areas where you're playing, this is what we're gonna do, we stand for this, and were they like, fuck you, or were they like, yes?
Yes.
They were always like, yes, or were they like, okay, well, we don't have that right now, but was it always a thing where, meaning, you had that transition point of like showing these people, hey, guess what, I have this right here, they're paying me this. Did you ever have to do that? To tell somebody, I'm getting paid over here, or is it this or this, or I bring this many people.
Like start having to vouch for your own credibility and why you're worth that amount?
Realistically, was it your credibility, or was it just the want of your professional aspect? It's a long, it's realistically just your timing.
You said something I think that you need to repeat to him. You said believe in yourself.
Yeah, no
Right.
doubt.
Right.
When you put that energy and belief in yourself into the universe, I feel like just the way you said it, like, that's it. Like, I deserve this, and this is who I am, and this is what I deserve, and I will get this.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a detail, like how I can piggyback off of payment.
I know there's one time, totally related to this. You guys had a residency somewhere.
Oh yeah.
I forget what.
Harvard and Stone.
In LA.
Yeah.
You had a residency, and I think that residency paid you $300.
Yeah,
Something like that. And then I remember saying, like, I was blown away. I was like, dude, why are you taking that gig? And I think there was still like, I don't think you were there yet. I don't think you totally believed in yourself.
Yep.
And you were like, well, if we say no, they might not get us again.
Yeah, all that.
And then, yeah, and so that was something that kept you there. And that's one of the sayings that like is out there. Is like, if you keep answering, they're gonna keep calling.
And it's a rock scene. It's like a rock bar. So we're like, we want that kind of clientele. We don't have exposure to that. So exposure to a new crowd will keep your rate down, right? Until it goes up, and exposure to a new crowd, you're the shit, and you're playing to new crowds. You gotta plant the seeds. So to answer your question directly, is you get on the road. That's it. Because then you start raising your worth nationally. Like, your city's cool and shit, but your city's tiny, you know? I watch do a lot of podcasts, and a lot of basketball players and interviews, and how they got into circuits in high school. And it's like, and they're all talking about like, they were legends in their high school, and legends in their city. And then they're like, okay, I'm good enough in my city. And I'm like, man, to be the best in your city is crazy. you know? And then now that the following cities like, you know, Camarillo and like Ventura and Santa Barbara know about you, you're like, oh, damn, this is a big game, you know? But then when you go like, well, let's take it to the state, get your ass whooped. You know, you're like, whoo, there's a lot going out there. You're like, well, let's take it to the Southwest. Damn, how are we gonna get out there? We don't know nobody out there. You figure it out, you know? And then you go to the South, and then you go to the Midwest, and then you go through winters, and then through summers in the desert. And then you get flat tires, and then you get broke, you know? And then you get a sprained knee, you know, you get bad weather. And so it's like, you know, you gotta believe in something. Otherwise you're just on an adventure, you know, which is cool too. And a lot of people do it for that, you know, but sustainability is different. It's a lot different. It's like going to Whole Foods, you know, for lunch. As opposed to fucking Alberto's. No asada fries, you know, the tour, like, you know. I mean, you try to eat healthy because, again, like, we're out there singing and playing, like physically being participating in this thing we're trying to create, and that takes a lot of energy, Right. So if we like eat chili cheese dogs, you know, before and have like coffee, like, you know, smell it on the stage, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, it's disgusting. It's not inspiring for nobody. You're like, dude, what? You know what I'm saying? Or just like, you don't have any energy, man. You don't have to like, I don't know, it's like, it's good to put yourself in this position where you're reaching for something more because you sacrifice so much for those 45 minutes or 30 minutes. Like, what are you willing to sacrifice that for? You know? And those are the big questions, you know, and yeah. Anybody else have a question?
I think everything that you do as a band, if you're trying to get out there, everything has to be like, you have to do your best and put as much resources as you possibly can to make it great. Like, it has to be high quality, everything from your pictures to your website, to your merch, to your logo. Like, the whole experience, it just has to be high quality, it has to. Because that's your brand, that's your company. I think, you know, it's funny with the merch thing, you guys kill it with merch. The other like merch kings were like Ozomali. They have that amazing logo. Are you familiar with Ozomali? Dude, they got that logo, they just lucked out, man. That thing's like perfect, you know? But like, we're going to somewhere in Kansas tomorrow. We have this festival. We're not making any money because it's like a strategic thing. So we're actually losing money going. The only thing that might put us back in the green is merch. So you guys for sure make sure your merch looks good.
To get a pin. That's slavery, bro. It is. That's crazy. Like, for the amount of all this thing we're talking about, touring, expenses, not making any money tomorrow. Like, so you can get a fraction of a penny per every stream of a song.
No, I was talking about revenue streams, sources of income.
Where do you make your money?
Like,
yeah.
What's your breakdown?
I just want to, like, you know, air that out a little bit.
I want to find out where the money coming from.
So you're saying you don't make money off streaming? That's where you're not making money.
Touring
is your largest
merchandise. Yeah. So again, and that's one of the things too that I feel is where the like social media kind of like has a little cliff, a fall off. Yeah. Is that yeah, you made a great record. It's amazing. Now go out there and play it for the people. You know, don't expect it. Everybody wants that TikTok like viral shit. You know what I'm saying? Especially young people. I have a family that, you know, like, have friends that are just like, they got one video and it really hit, and they're just trying so damn hard to get that same level of hit. It's just like, now they're young though. You know, they can't be doing that. You know what I'm saying? Go play kickball. You know? It's like, you know what? This is crazy. Like, why are we worried about going viral? But we all fucking wish that one of our posts gets a lot of reaction, you know, so that we can be like, oh, something's working or something's not working, you know? So we're all caught up into that, you know? But yeah.
You gotta stay on the road, like, as much
yeah,
as possible.
streaming, man, like, streaming revenue comes if you get a sync in a movie or like a TV show.
I was also going to ask the mechanical rights.
Mechanical rights, that's cool.
Did you guys make a significant amount of mechanical rights, or?
Some years, yeah. If your song is fresh, they want it. If it's been out for 3 years, who wants that? That's not exclusive. So just in the same way that you're presenting yourself to different cities and off of your album, distributors want the sync houses. They want this shit fresh. They want to be the first ones to premiere it on their stuff. You know. Also, too, here's some advice. If you have an album and you gotta mix and master and stuff like that, mix and master an instrumental version of it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do it all at once
Yeah.
at the very end. Because then you're gonna be like, oh, I don't know what's the social clause. I don't know, like I can remix it. Oh no, you suck. You know, just have the same engineer do it. It's easy for them. Mute. You know, bounce them, pay a little bit more, you know, to get it. But you're ready in case someone's like, I like that. Do you have an instrumental version?
Yeah, you gotta get the stems for all your recordings.
Yeah.
And a clean,
Yeah,
and a clean for radio.
that's right. Oh, that's right.
Clean.
Funniest thing that you've ever seen on tour.
Okay, give me a second. One of the things that I want to add to that, we had two songs that were like the theme songs for two different Mexican soap operas.
Oh yeah.
For novelas.
So jealous of that.
And yeah,
I was like,
oh, I got one on you.
oh.
And those royalties were cool. Those were really cool. In the back, in the right corner, is my studio partner, George. George works in TV and film and a bunch of that stuff. And this guy works in this world much more than I do, probably much more than either one of us do. But George, there's money to be made, film, TV, commercials. How much money?
If you're a big band, you can get $100,000 for a spot for 8 seconds.
Yeah.
You know,
That's how it
you
works.
still get your residuals on top of that.
Every time they re-air it, replay it.
And how do bands, maybe bands that are kind of starting out, is there a way that they can get into that world?
I mean, you gotta build relationships with the music supervisors.
Yeah, so stay for the end of the credits, you know what I'm saying? For your series you like, you know, get those names down.
The music supervisors are always cool new bands.
Yeah.
You know, so
Totally.
you gotta find who they are, find the music houses, and get the music to them. They want it.
Yeah?
They have dough.
There's dough out there. My mic went out.
The funniest thing that happened on tour.
Oh,
Can we go back here?
So I've been a musician in Ventura County a long time. My friends in Ventura, they have dozens and dozens of venues to play at tonight. You know, they tour those Ventura bands. The amount of talent in this room, like this corner alone, like these bands here, like it's crazy. You know, and it's all love amongst all of us. But we don't have those same opportunities as they do. The only venue we have to play at is here, maybe a brewery. So how do we like band together and create these like opportunities for ourselves? The same opportunities they have in Ventura. Like, I mean, we're just as good as them, you know, but we don't do the same life.
What do you think, Carolyn?
Man, I'm sorry. I was changing batteries and this is the question I said.
How do you build your own scene here? There's no venues.
Dude, that's...
You know, and you have to go to Ventura, you know, but like there's no spaces here to do anything. I mean,
A friend of mine called it like, it's like a venue crisis. It's just not enough. Like, I think that's been part of like my narrative coming back, is that when I came back, I was super interested in finding the scene. Where's the scene? Where can I go watch music and have a drink? Like, where can I go and see? And 6 years later, like maybe I'm just not in the mix, or I just don't know, but I haven't found it, you know? And I know that there's things that happen here and there, but so I'm not sure. How do you develop the scene?
I mean, you know, I saw a post of like some metal band like taking it all back and just getting a trailer and going in the parking lot and just playing out of the trailer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like if you have no more venues, then what are you gonna do? You're gonna create your own venues. You know, your own spaces. You know, punk, yeah, take it back.
You know, some of the when we first started playing, and then like we were all part of the same scene coming up, and we played in like backyards. We played in like places that were not venues, but that somebody just had, you know. And so
For years,
like we played like just straight up.
years.
And other bands too, like La Santa Cecilia, who's like doing really well. Like we all played the same venues.
Sure.
So I think when there's not a proper stage, then it seems like that's what it's got to be. Or you might just have to play winter.
I got an answer. This is what we did, especially on tour. So, so what we did is we followed DJs, you know, and we're like, what DJ has what night in what city, you know, and hit them up. Yo, we're gonna be in Phoenix, man. Like, you know, you got the cumbia night. We're kind of doing this kind of thing. Here's our band. Maybe we can team up, you know, and promote the show. So then you have a built-in crowd. So now you're not relying on just your band to draw everything. You got at least 50% of someone else's scene there that's going to give you an opportunity to have a new crowd, you know, and still make some money and sell your merchandise. And you got to pay good. You know what I'm saying? It's like you gotta give them what it is that you're trying to represent, you know.
But you know what? Here's the last thing I'll say about this. I think when they're like, if you sell tickets, if you bring people out, then venues will be very interested in that. You're bringing people out. People are buying stuff. It's kind of like, it's not like if you build it, they will come. It's almost like the opposite, because you have to kind of like, you have to bring people out. And when you bring people out, like it may make it happen. But and this is where the other thing is, like, you have to, like, how do you bring people out? Like, you have to put on a great show. Like, you have to be super creative. And you have to execute your set, like, boom, like you have to wow people. And I think, and one of the things that I've noticed is that many local bands, and maybe it might be sort of the lack of like competition, the lack of seeing other bands, the lack of like really high caliber bands in the area that might play. I think there's a lot to be learned, and this is no knock on anybody here, but I think like when there's a lot of like really good bands, then everybody gets good together. And it's hard for people to get good together when you're not seeing each other. I know, like, we would try to outdo each other. We'd be like, damn, they killed it. They killed that outro song. We gotta fucking do something better than them, you know? And so, like, I think that's really dope to have friendly competition, but I don't know. I don't have a good answer to that question, Ms. Allen.
I think that you have to, what he was saying is you have to kind of create your own lane. And I just, as he was talking about that, just how you would, where do you go to create, you know, like go to a parking lot and play? Yeah, you go out to one of these vendor markets and you try to get on. There's so much going on in the community, and people just are looking for talented people to get involved in and put our energy together and make something beautiful. So like vendors markets, any of these community, you know, like I just did the Insect Festival on Saturday for the city of Oxnard. I was just out there, you know, there was a couple of bands that performed at that.
Metal band at an Insect, you know what I'm saying? That's so.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, it was pretty cool. I mean, there's a lot of, there's different avenues, so don't just think like clubs, don't just think like,
It's true.
yeah,
That's true.
Who has
clubs.
a PA? That's a good one. Who has a
Think
PA?
outside, think.
I think that's oftentimes the clutch, like who has the sound system.
There's never a sound.
I got that.
Yeah.
Never is.
There it is.
I got my own sound.
Ah,
I bought my own
Put your
sound.
Instagram.
That's what I did. I was like, well, I'll just go buy my own equipment then.
Yep.
You
And that's,
might have to do that, yeah.
yeah. You got to, whatever money you're making out there, or say right now you have like a job, right? You just have like a regular 9 to 5 or whatever, you have a side job right now. Take some of that money and invest it in yourself. Like, how am I gonna win? Like, am I gonna do, like, am I popping on social media right now? Am I gonna do some, you know, marketing on social media? You know, like, am I gonna pay for some stuff? Because that's how you break the algorithm. So am I gonna do that? Yeah. I'm gonna invest some money back into myself so I can try to make some. So if you got like a side hustle, take some of that money and think about the things that you need for yourself to get to the next level. Is it a sound system? Is it, you know, like just a PA that you guys can roll around or whatever?
You can put on the shows for everybody.
That's true.
You have the PA.
Right. Maybe you do that. Or maybe you take your unemployment money and buy a big yellow van. So you can
Somehow, like, I think that one thing that could help is like maybe somebody here is down to do sound. That person needs to get paid.
Yeah.
Doing sound is a lot of work, but maybe that person does sound for all these gigs, and you could have gigs in the parking lot or on the stage outside, but that person needs to get paid.
That's how it works. We share the same song, guys. And we have a friend of Jose Cano, so we're just like,
Yeah, that's true.
This sound for all of us.
Yeah.
At some point or another, and they just become the circuit.
Yeah.
So treat them with respect. You know,
Yeah.
Treat sound guys with respect. You know, some other things I've learned is be nice to everybody.
That's everybody, yeah.
Yeah, because they come around, even fools that you don't work with anymore, and then you got off on some like bad business thing. You'll see at the motor somewhere in New Jersey, somewhere else. You're gonna run into them again.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be having to do business in good faith. So if you did things like on a good one, then you're gonna run into them again.
Yeah.
The other thing I learned is don't be late. Yeah, musicians like to run late.
Hell
I saw you coming at 7:05. That's not acceptable. Okay. It's like if like loading is at 3, there's like 6 people that went there at 3 p.m. too. You know, for you to be there, to open the doors for you and help you sit in. Like, don't disrespect anyone else's time. The other thing too is like you need that sound check. You never know what's gonna happen, and things will always happen. Coachella's biggest stages, things always break right there last minute. You're like, let's go. You know? So things will always go wrong. And just like, you know, collect your money, get receipts at the end of the shows. You know, ask for a receipt, ask for something. You know, make it as pro as possible. Treat yourself like you're gonna make $1 million every night. And set up that framework. You know, and then you'll see where money goes, where it organizes itself. You know, because if you don't have a framework and you make $1 million, you'll be fighting over like, well, how it gets distributed, what's going on, or what are the roles, or you know, it's like set it up so that you know what to do with your money. I used to do is I don't know if I would tell you this. I set up an account and I just like threw away the debit cards to that, and that's where I started saving all the band money. So I never had access to it. No checkbook, no nothing. I just go to the bank and drop off cash. And then I started doing it for my own savings. It's like, I don't need no debit cards, you know, because then I'm going to go get it. And then so no debit cards, and it's just somewhere it's just locked. It's self-control. Just know that when you go there, you do not go back. You got to set up agreements with yourself and boundaries, and like, you know, it's a craft, you know.
We have time for one more question, but you've been raising your hand.
No, it was just an addition to like finding. I'm an event manager professionally, and one of the things that we recommend a lot of people is to network through Chamber of Commerce, because usually the Chamber of Commerce in every city will know what's happening within the city. So if you really want to put yourself in a position where you want to get that advantage or that gig that will land on the right ears, again, with the right ears, like let's say the mayor of the town, the event planners who manage clubs in that city, these people are in that one place. So it's a bit of a pay. I mean, I pay like $500 just to attend one of those luncheons, and it's not a joke, but it's like, it's worth it. I get a lot of my events through those lunches. Sometimes it's just a matter of having coffee with somebody or cake, standing in the right place.
You know what's making me think? We've done a lot of that. Like, you have to go to your funding sources. So that's a whole different avenue. City of Commerce, even then you have to have like a registration to like a business license. You start getting into some, when you do gigs for certain companies or organizations, you need to get more insurances and things like that. You should just do it, you know. But you gotta go. Some places will have like $25,000 for a festival, and this much for this, for that, for this, and then talent will be like, I don't know, $5K or something like that. I mean, some of these places you'll get like $2,000. You know, it'll be the most you ever see in your life playing music. You know, and it's just like, but it's the event is organized around a certain theme. Maybe organize the event. You know, like backward engineer. You know what I'm saying? Have a theme for something. Work with people that are already building. There's a lot of community builders in Oxnard, I'm sure. You know, I mean, if there's this many musicians in the room that haven't met each other, there's a lot of people building out there around events and things that matter to everybody. So link up with that cause and show support by playing music. That's how we did.
Yep.
For a lot of years. It's all anti-war rallies. You know, it's like, man, you name it. You name it, we were there.
We're community organizers before we were music.
Yep. So it's like the social justice work is built in. It's not finished.
So I just wanted to close out. Man, again, yo, thank you so much for coming. I'm honored that you all came out. I mean, I think I'm nourished from your presence a lot. You know, I hope you all are nourished. I'm nourished as well. Let's give it up for Eduardo.
for sure. It's like I feel blessed, you know, to be a sort of guy. Like this is you know, I've never imagined I'll be doing this for a living, you know. And I don't ever think that we ever made it. There's still more gigs to play. There's next year, as you after that. If we're not touring, I'm not getting money, you know. And that's a really harsh reality that now raising a family I'm confronted with. And it's like, this is what's on the table. So, but we're still doing it because we still believe in something bigger. And I think one of the things, man, that I learned, because it's like, man, people put ceilings on our dreams. You know, what we think is possible since we're babies. No juegues con eso. Allá no vayas. Te va a agarrar con cuy. Miedo, miedo, miedo. Dios te va a castigar. You know? Mira lo que está haciendo debajo Dios. There's always something. There's always a box. You know? Your creativity is put in a box because your mom, fucking, you're a troublemaker. You know what I'm saying? In school, you just can't sit down, man. You know? Not meant to be indoors. Meant to be out there. Punished. Detention. Suspended. Do some stupid things. So I think we spend our whole lives like being in a box. And like sometimes when I'm on stage, yo, and I'm looking out the crowd, I say, fuck your box. You know? Because like, you didn't give me a chance to breathe. Like I'm doing this at a much older age because I got that confidence working on this shit by myself. You know, with the help of my family, therapy, like music, my friends, all the things that I believe in. And it's just like, I'll be on Coachella being like, this is my moment right here. Ain't nobody gonna take this away from me. You know, and unless you dream and you think that big, and I'm not talking on some like dream big shit. I'm talking on some dream big shit. Like it's really, it's the only way this whole thing makes sense is if you take that leap. Like I can only jump 6 feet. Oh, you're gonna have to do 13 tonight. Let's go get it. It's just like, fuck, how? Don't worry about it. Just put it in position and go. And I swear to God, it's the only way that this kind of like success, like it measures up. Because you believe in yourself and you're just like, let's go. Or, you know, this is our chance. Let's go. You know? And with that, when you're all connected on that, then you're just like, man, let's try to do this. Like, let's really try to do this. Yep. There's a lot to do. A lot of organizing, a lot of like settling your differences, tapping into your strengths, you know, a lot of swallowing pride, a lot of money saving, a lot of hurt, you know, a lot of expression, you know what I'm saying? So give yourself that opportunity to like go find what your true expression is, because no one's gonna do it for you, you know. And that's why y'all here, like, in some way or form, y'all got something to give, you know. So we're just trying to like give it before we die, you know what I'm saying, or as soon as possible, every day, and not stop giving it. So set it up for yourself, you know. Another thing too is like some people are like, how do you quit your day job and go? That's like, don't quit it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you do something 9 to 5. What do you do from 6 to 10? You know, discipline. You know, it's what it is. Anybody that's dope at anything is not an accident. You know, like I read this somewhere. It's like excellence is a habit. You know, you gotta keep it. Mayweather, you know what I'm saying? Like, like everybody. That's what trips me out about it. Like everybody at the highest craft, they're really doing it every day. Different elements. You know, lighting, dance moves, you know, there's so many elements, nutrition. There's so many elements to like getting to be the best at something, you know. But yeah, just I'm available. If y'all want to hit me up on Instagram or like have any questions, anything like that, any recording advice, setups, should I buy this, should I buy that? You know, is my song cool? I mixed it, what do you think? You know, I think the song is terrible. What do you think? But tell me it sucks. For real. Tell me it sucks. All that, the massive self-doubters. I know there's a bunch of years. I was one for many years, you know what I'm saying? Hit me up. I'm available, and I'd love to, like, you know, help y'all build, you know.
Yeah. And please
Don't saturate.
And please meet each other. Like, if you came, I know some people came in your groups and your bands. Please, like, go out and meet at least 2 people that you don't know, somebody that you didn't come with. This is our community, you know. Eduardo's leaving tonight, but we all are going to be here. So come say hi. Please meet each other, support each other's projects, support each other's spaces. You know, we're trying to build venues. Man, we got to support that stuff. So
I bet y'all can like book 5 gigs right now tonight.
Yeah, to do that.
At least have a sketch. I bet you, and then you know the next 2 months will be cracking.
Right
on top of summertime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we're all we got. So let's do it. Thank y'all so much for coming.
Yeah.